Hello and welcome to another episode of the Able to Care podcast. Today we're looking at a really tough question for parents, carers and teachers. What happens when a child's neurodivergence is misunderstood as bad behaviour? And how does that push some of them towards exclusion and even the criminal justice system? My guest, Dr. Neil Alexander-Passe, a teacher, researcher and author who has spent decades listening to the lived experience of young people with dyslexia, ADHD, autism and school-based trauma. His work looks at the school-to-prison pipeline, but also at the other path, the one where, with the right support, those same young people become successful, confident and even entrepreneurial. If you care about a child who is struggling in school, this conversation is for you. So thank you so much, Neil, for joining us today. First question I'm jumping straight in with is there's a lot of parents out there who really are struggling to understand why is their neurodivergent child always in trouble at school? And from what your research and experience, what's really going on there?
Okay, so I am dyslexic myself, also with ADHD. I've been a SENCO for many years, I suppose about nearly 10 years. So I've worked in primary and secondary school. So really what's going on is, in most cases, there's a lack of knowledge, awareness within the classroom and within the school. Teachers get very little SEN training, and with the large class numbers of 30 or more children per class, the teacher is teaching to that middle group. And therefore, unless you're within that middle group, you are in some ways just not supported for your needs. There is very little planning for you. That if you're a bright kid and you will get bored, you will just run through the work, and then you will sit there just doing nothing or making trouble sometimes because you are a child. That if you're a young person like myself that struggled in schools, the teacher has no time for you. There is no planning. It is one person to the classroom, and they say, "Well, try your best." Or so what a child with say dyslexia does is they will learn to disappear within the room. You will sometimes hear comments like, "Where were you?" or the terms been, and the teacher is writing their report, and they have got nothing to write about the child. They are not aware of them in the class. Their the homework isn't there, and they've got nothing to write about. So really, I would say the bottom line is the teacher doesn't see a child who is struggling. They will see a child who is naughty, because they will see that. So you will have three groups. You will have the naughty kids who are perceived to be causing trouble, and they will remove them out. But in real terms, these are children who are struggling to engage with the learning. The second are the quiet children who are, they near enough disappear. They're easy, according to the teacher, because they're quiet. No, they're easy because they have disengaged. And then you've got the middle of the road learners who are just plodding on and doing the work.
Mm. And is it that, so those two, what we might class as fringe groups, as far as either the naughty children or the quiet ones, that are often the ones that are kind of Well, I suppose it's the naughty kids that are the ones that are getting in trouble. The quiet kids are just not known about.
Yeah, I mean, I've written books about surviving school as a dyslexic teenager, and you're in a class, you're struggling, you can't do the work, and there's a test coming up. So what will you do? Or a written task. You either will find a way of wasting time, so you will sharpen your pencil and you will sharpen it and sharpen it and sharpen it until you waste enough time that there is no time left for the work, or you are the class clown and you play up to your mates, and therefore you are retaining your self-worth, because it's easier being seen as a funny kid who is pushed out of the class than a thick kid who isn't able to do things. So there is a huge amount of obviously avoidance going on there.
Yeah, I'd like to come back to that later on, because I think that's a big area that's sometimes misunderstood, isn't it? As far as why don't, if the child is struggling, why don't they just put the hand up and say, "Hey, help me"? And I think that's so misunderstood. So we'll come back to that. One of the things you talk about within your work is kind of the emotional experience of having a learning difference. So from a lived experience, as well as obviously that professional point of view, for a child with dyslexia or ADHD, what does school often feel like from the inside?
Well, schools nowadays, and a mainstream school, and there was a report released on Thursday or Friday last week about the Moss-Bourne School, and obviously academy I was sat in London. I've always related secondary schools as being more like prisons. Every door is locked. You are supervised at all time. You are. So in my last school, the toilets were locked, and a member of staff needed to unlock the toilet. School is a prison, near enough. It's somewhere that you are forced to be. There is no free choice there. You are forced by law to be there, and parents will send you there. And for a child who is dyslexic, every class is a chance to fail. Every time that they ask you to open up your book, you are struggling. Every time you are asked to write something, you are struggling. And spelling tests. It is a place of shame, and this is why lots are bullied. Every child knows the so-called thick child who is on the slow table. They will see the grades. That in my school days, there would be a test, and they would put up on the class window the grades. So it's a public shame. And so a lot develop, learned, and helplessness, because no matter how much they revise for a test, they will forget it within seconds. And parents are pulling out their hair, because in the evening before, they've spent hours getting all these spellings or facts learned, and then by the morning, it's gone. It's just gone. It isn't there, and the parent thinks, why bother? And it's similar to the teacher who will see a piece of written work that looks like a mess with all scribbles and words being changed and spellings sometimes being changed. And they think, well, just why bother? So if they're not able to write something decent, why should I bother marking it? And really, the child will soon learn to choose the easy words that they can spell, rather than the words spoken that they know. They will write less. They will protect themselves. It's very much about protection. A child with ADHD, so in most cases are not, and obviously Diane knows, it is a cage. You're told to sit down, sit still, sit down, don't call out, don't move, don't fidget. So if you call out and want to share things, you are told off because you are not waiting your turn, and therefore, similar to a zoo, you let a caged lion out of you let a lion out of a cage, and they will just go wild sometimes and do silly things, and the child with ADHD will do those silly things without thinking. So impulsivity is a real cause of a problem, because they will say things without thought. They will say what is in their mind. Most people will think it, will filter it, will say it. These guys will think it and then say it. So they get in trouble with teachers. They get in trouble with their friends. They're really great at making friends because they are fun. However, they will lose friends really fast because they will say things to them.
Yeah, and I suppose that's again leads into that fringe group, isn't it? As far as what we perceive as the good kids and the bad kids. The good kids tend to be really good socially, whereas the bad kids, a fringe group, their friendships are based on, if you make me laugh, then we'll be friends. If you do what I'm willing or want you to do, then we're friends. Yeah.
The child with ADHD will do those things.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I was I dare you to set off the fire alarm. Yeah, okay, fine. Bang.
Yeah.
They're in trouble. Who did it? Oh, him.
Yeah.
They will set them up to fail. It's similar to a child with autism who is told by their parents and adults to make friends, and they are making friends without thinking that they are being used, and they know that child will be easily wound up, even if it is a case of they come into a classroom and they move seats. If there is a supply teacher, they know that child will go ballistic. So if they move seats or sit there, and the supply teacher will come in and say, "Okay, fine, settle down," and this child with autism say, "This is my seat. I must sit there." And the supply teacher will say, "Yeah, no, it's fine. Just sit there for now." And this child with autism has this huge sense of justice that they are being wronged. That child just won't learn for that class, and the built up thing is just going to cause trouble and meltdowns.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's where there needs to be structure, isn't it? As I'm sure we'll talk about later. But so one of the things that you've written an awful lot about, and one of the areas of kind of expertise. So we hear the phrase, school to prison pipeline, more and more now. In simple terms, what do you actually mean by that? And how does it specifically or especially apply for children with special educational needs and disabilities?
Okay, so the school to prison pipeline is basically what happens in the school can cause children to be disillusioned and fall out of learning and to fall in with gangs and crime, and that can lead them along a path to prison.
Okay, yeah, perfect description. And it's something that you found, is there higher rates and higher statistics as far as those in the prison service who've come from special educational needs backgrounds?
I mean, most most in prison haven't been obviously diagnosed. The levels of special needs in prison is crazy and obviously high. The stats are that 65% of the prison population has a reading age of below 11 years old. It is like they finished primary school and stopped learning. There were many in prison who are not able to read and write. And no one's checked. So I mean, you've got people in prison who are not able to read, and everything in prison is form-based. You know, you fill out an app, it is called, and you fill out an app for your food, to get a phone card, to get a job, to contact your lawyer or your family. Everything is app-based. And these guys can't read and write, so they are reliant on others. But in one case, I went to a prison, and this guy, he chooses the same thing to eat every day, every meal, because he knows the shape of the word sandwich, and therefore he will circle that for every meal. I mean, how sad is that? You know. Everything is written based in print. I mean, the crazy thing is, how did the guy end up there? I mean, I said to my research, I look at the journey, and there is a legal phrase called the fitness to plead. And so along that is that if a person is obviously arrested, and the police give them a statement to read and to sign. This is them saying what has obviously happened. So if you can't read and write, there's no way that you are able to read that, and therefore who knows what obviously you were signing, and therefore. Yeah. A lot of people in prison shouldn't be there because they were not fit to plead, and they were thrown in prison because there was no one there and standing up for them, and really they didn't want to say I can't read. To that, it's admission that they are obviously stupid. So yes. In real terms, it really is that they were let down by their obviously school, and the kids with ADHD will do silly things. They will do things without thinking, because in the main they are not obviously diagnosed, and they are trying to create naturally made obviously dopamine by doing sport or different things to obviously give them a buzz. Say that they were diagnosed and given the correct medication, they would have a safe level of dopamine every day, and therefore wouldn't need to do these silly things, because these silly things are what gets them into trouble and gets them sent out of school. So if you're a kid with ADHD who is doing a gun based or a topic in the school and a class, and it is about the Tudor times and guns, and they have got their parents got an old gun from that time, they will bring that into the school. The school say, "Oh my gosh, they brought in a gun. He is removed. The police are called."
Yeah,
and therefore this leads them on that path to the school to prison pipeline. And we see that with knives being brought into the school. It isn't for a weapon; it's for a lesson. However, they will see it as a threat.
Yeah. Yeah, so that kind of leads me into this next question, really. So many children with ADHD, dyslexia, or autism get labelled as disruptive or lazy, or those kind of terms thrown around. From your perspective, what are schools and adults often misreading in that behaviour?
They're misreading a child asking for help. I mean, there was a great. There was a image I saw last week, the week on LinkedIn that really worked well for me. It was a child, the same child, one ranting to the teacher, and one with a sign saying I am struggling. It's the same thing. It's that they don't know how to ask for help without looking stupid in front of their peers. And so it really, a child is very easily labelled as trouble, rather than them sitting down and saying, okay, fine, this child is acting in this way. Why? No one asks why. They will just ask what. So the secondary side of it, ADHD could be the primary need. The secondary need is they are then manifesting, just doing silly things or perceived to be verbal abuse, because they have got their primary need hasn't been diagnosed. It hasn't been screened. It hasn't been diagnosed. It hasn't been supported, and therefore that they are trying. They're trying to ask for help in the wrong way.
There's a mirroring as well, I suppose, isn't there? That child so there's a child close to me in my world who has got some additional difficulties. So even though is in mid-teens, has got the reading age of a 6-year-old, and we finally managed to get her out of a mainstream school because, again, she was classed as disruptive and naughty, rather than the fact that, when we go to a restaurant, she struggles with the menu. And it's exactly the same thing as you mentioned. So she's learned certain words or gets certain words. She's got a reading age of 6. So we do stuff and to help her. Like, we make adjustments. We use AI and stuff like that to all kind of help her be able to, when we go to a restaurant, we try and get the menu in advance. We go through it. We put it AI, because something like the term relish in a menu is quite a complicated word if you don't understand that concept. But tasty sauce, maybe something that she can understand. So we then use AI to make that simplified, so she can then choose her meal. She can have that independence. But in schools, they're not really doing that. So she kept getting put over and over again into isolation. And when you're talking about the school to prison pipeline, almost you're training her to accept prison life. Because you haven't done what you're supposed to be doing, we're going to put you in this limited environment where there's no engagement, reduced social connection, not going to build your skills in there, all going to be a case of, look, and you mentioned that term learned helplessness earlier, didn't you? So is this one of the things that leads to what we call school-based trauma?
Yeah, I mean, lots of kids are being labelled with emotionally based school avoidance, or EBSA. And really, the research suggests that kids who are unable to cope in the school, and therefore are perceived to be avoiding school, are doing it because it is the child who is struggling. But in real terms, the research is now showing that a vast majority of those are girls with just undiagnosed autism. And also it should be the label should be changed, because the actual label is argued to be school school distress. It's what happens in the school which is forcing that child to not be there. It's not the child, it's not the parents. Very easy blaming the parent. It's what happens within the school. And the school, a secondary school, is a chaotic place. It's noisy, it's got crowds. I mean, moving from lesson to lesson is just chaotic in some places, and some of them are very harsh places to be. I mean, there are schools near me that where they have brought in a no talk rule. So if you're not allowed to talk whilst moving from class to class, and say you do, you are put in an isolation for the day. I mean, this is just harsh. This is something I saw in a prison last year. You know, the same thing, the same sort of way of managing people. It isn't. It's not what we should be teaching our kids about life and society. I mean, school is a harsh place where you just try and survive. I mean, most of the kids are just trying to survive till they can leave. You know, and the idea of going back to a school or learning to retrain, it just sends shivers down their spine, because it is returning them to a place of failure.
You've mentioned, I think, as far as that sometimes that school-based trauma, though, actually shows up later as well in kind of later behaviour, in mental health, or even in contact with the criminal justice system. Could you mind expanding on that for me?
Yeah, I mean, my first book was on dyslexia and depression, and then from there I used the data to then write a book on dyslexia, parenthood, dating, dating, parenthood, and see something else, and really. Lots of dyslexics have long-term trauma from their schooling, and a lot can't face going in for their own children, because they will go in once. They will sit down in a primary school. They're sitting on those small chairs. They're seeing work pinned up. They are smelling a sickly floor cleaner. Everything there reminds them of a place of failure, and many never return for pantos or for various things. They will not step foot in that school, and they also struggle when they see that their own child is struggling, and they try to turn around to the teacher and say, "I have got dyslexia. And my child has similar difficulties. I think he should be supported." They say, "No, we know best. We are the professionals. We are the experts. He needs more time. Just give him a little bit more time. He's a bit immature. So it will come. Don't worry. It will come." And the parent is really struggling because they are angry, because it's the same thing. They know what is wrong. They know what their child needs, and they are being denied it. And this is where this huge anger comes. I mean, there was one parent that said, "I went into my child's school and." No. So they told me a story of their parents going into their school, and they saw the work being pinned up on the primary school, and they saw that their child's name was on someone else's work. And so they asked why. So they said, this isn't Philip's work. And they turned around and said, well, Philip's work wasn't good enough to put up.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
awful.
that is, I was speechless. I just could not believe that happened. And we've got there are more modern cases of autistic kids where the parent goes in to Panto and sees their child strapped into a wheelchair to the side of the stage. And when they ask why, well, this is the one way that they could take a part. I mean, that to use physical restraints. I mean, this has been in the media and various things. It isn't just this, and this is a mainstream primary school.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it isn't an isolated case.
Yeah,
you know, these so-called professionals are not. I mean, the crazy thing is, a child with an EHCP is given adult support in the classroom.
Yeah,
it's a child with severe needs who will need expert support. There is a TA who will be with them, a learning support adult, who is near enough left with the child for that lesson. Because the teacher will see the child come in with the TA and think, okay, great, I will get on with the rest of the class. I'm relieved of that duty. However, you're giving the least qualified person the most the child with the most need, and also you're not giving them these support. You're not even giving them a differentiated or adapted lesson, or preparing them. They come in with the child and they sit down there and they're learning with the child. They are trying to make sense of what's going on and trying to teach the child. It's not for them to teach the child. And that a teacher, in most cases, will not even spend seconds with them.
And that's exactly what's happening in homework as well, isn't it? As you said, you described that beautifully there. The TA is trying to learn at the same time as a child so the TA can work with the child. And there's so many parents out there that more than likely, there is a correlation that if the children have got dyslexia and ADHD and autism, there's a high chance of hereditary kind of difficulties. And therefore, you've got a parent who's meant to be helping them with or they're going home with homework that they can't do themselves. So then the parents are meant to help them with it. So which means that the parents experiencing then re-traumatization, as you described, as far as, going through all that again,
this is another crucial point. Homework. Parents believe that the homework should be done. So in some cases, the parents do it for the child. And therefore, the parent thinks they're doing the best for the child by doing the work for them, or already correcting it, or making sure that all the work is done. That is, in real terms, the wrong thing to do. Because what it's showing is that, say they go to the school and say, my child needs and obviously help, they're really struggling, they will turn around and say, look, the homework is perfect, it's amazing, with the right guidance they're able to do it. Okay, in the classroom, they're being lazy, they're messing about, they're not focusing. And the parent has no way of saying, yeah, but, set up with me. So in real terms, I always tell parents, you allow the child to spend the specified time, maybe a little bit more, that if it is a 30-minute piece of homework, work, you allow them, say, 40 minutes, and then you will write a note on the bottom, my child worked for 40 minutes, and this is it. It's because this way, the homework and the schoolwork match. And therefore, the teacher can see that it is the same thing. Yeah, and this is where you begin to form the evidence needed so that they can be supported more, and for you to press for screening or support.
Have you ever encountered an adult or child's behaviour that has felt difficult, overwhelming, or challenging? Have you sometimes felt at a loss of what to do, or know that you didn't handle it quite right? People are complex and unpredictable, and their behaviour can be like the weather. We've all made the mistake of looking out the window and feeling safe to wear shorts, but 5 minutes later wishing for an umbrella. But what if, like a weatherman, you understood how humidity, temperature and pressure all come together to cause the weather, allowing you to better prepare, predict and respond, and prevent ever having a picnic ruined by a thunderstorm ever again? My book, called Targeting the Positive with Behaviours that Challenge, helps you to become the weatherman of behaviour. It provides you with a toolkit to increase competency, confidence, resilience and empathy, so you feel more assured about how to respond to distressed or dysregulated behaviours in others, including those affected by trauma, mental health, neurodiversity, learning disabilities or dementia. Build better connections, achieve de-escalation and improve outcomes for yourself and those you engage with my celebrated 6-stage target model, a step-by-step process to reduce distress for everyone. Discover my empowering, person-centered guide in Targeting the Positive, written by me, Andy Baker, available from online bookstores worldwide. Find a link in the description and order today. Okay, so if a parent is worried that their child is on a path towards exclusion or constantly in trouble, what are the first practical steps that they might be able to take to protect their child?
I think that they should do some research themselves to screen their child for, say, dyslexia or ADHD or autism. There are screeners out there. Use those. If it is dyslexia or they're struggling with learning, I would say, okay, fine. Tell me certain things. I will ask, are they better orally than on paper? Okay, so if they are, then therefore that could be an early sign of dyslexia. How is their spelling? Oh, it's rubbish. It's dreadful. Well, are they spelling it in a phonetic way? Oh, yes. Again, there is a trait there. Such as is your child fidgeting a lot? Okay, it could be ADHD. Are they butting in things and can't wait? And calling out. That is a sign of ADHD. Would your child prefer to be alone during break at times? But that could be a sign of autism. Are they quite rigid with their thinking and take things in a lateral way? Again, it could be a trait of autism. Are they would they struggle with crowds and loud noises? It could be a sign of autism. Are they having meltdowns? Yeah, meltdowns or shutdowns when it gets just too much. Again, all these traits, they're quite easy traits, but they don't. Schools don't pick up on that because they will go easy child, naughty child, easy, naughty, quiet child without thinking why. So muck up yourself and say it could be this, and then push the school. I think if you're giving them something to go on rather than saying, "Oh, is that my child is struggling? Why?" You are asking them for their view. So if you have got some awareness yourself of what it could be, then this is them then going, "Oh yeah, you're right. Could be that." Again, primary school is the best time to get a child diagnosed. Because if you wait till secondary school, you have got no chance. The reason for that is that in primary school, is that these teacher, the one teacher is with them for say about 20 hours a week. They will know that child. Okay, in a secondary school, no one person is with them for more than three hours a week. As the SENCO, I will get forms from CAMS, and they send them to me to fill out for the child. So the SENCO doesn't know the child. The tutor will see them twice a day for 15 minutes in a manic registration before when they come in or leaving. It's not them. Head of year will see them for 30 minutes in a huge room and the assembly.
Yeah.
They won't know them. The English, science and maths teachers will see them for 3 hours a week. However, they are trying to manage a class of 30 kids, and they are pushing through a very heavy stressful learning. There's no one person who will know them. There's no one person who's able to fill out those forms. So screen early and get support early, but push. You have to. They won't do it for you. I mean, I will test kids for my current job in a 16 plus school, and I ask kids why they were not given more time or a laptop or rest breaks in their GCSEs, and they said that I never asked. And I turned around to them. It wasn't for you to ask. It was for your teacher to see that you were struggling. Were they aware that you were struggling? Yes. So why didn't they say he needs to be he needs to be tested, or she needs to be? Secondary schools are. It's the sausage factory.
Yeah.
And it isn't a great place to be supported.
So what can parents and maybe caregivers help? How can they help a child who's internalized the message from schools, which is I'm stupid or I am the bad kid, to maybe see themselves differently?
I mean, there was a book I wrote called The Successful Dyslexic, and looking for the skills to support your child, and the main keys for success for your child is to find something that they're good at, whether it's a sport, whether it's a hobby. Don't really mind what, but you just find something that they're passionate about, that they are really good at, and that they are willing to spend the time. And that could be skateboarding, it could be graffiti painting, it could be washing cars, it could be doing gardening. Find something that they've got a passion for. Next thing is to be specific with your feedback. And it really is about showing them that they are good at some things, areas of where they need to work at, but find their passion and their strengths, and give them that self-worth back, that they believe that they are good at something. Okay. The next thing is specific with feedback. Support them. Just try and help them to see that school is a journey, and it's one small bit, Yes, it is a big piece of your life now, but that is not the end of it. School will end soon, and it really is about supporting them. Tutoring, say that you were going down that route, choose carefully. Don't choose a tutor who will do the same things as school. Because I was sent to a tutor, my parents thought that they were doing the right thing, and the tutor did the same learning as per school with the same strategies. That wasn't being friendly to my learning needs. So it really is about choosing someone suitable for that child. And yes, a friend might say, oh yes, that tutor supported my child really well, and they got A grades and amazing grades. That's not the right tutor for you. You want the tutor who is caring, who will be patient, who will support those needs, who is creative.
I think that's great advice, and I think there's many parents who, again, they're driven towards tutors that are potentially looking to improve outcomes rather than actually change the way that the child's being presented information. Be adaptive is what you're really looking for from a tutor, rather than necessarily being outcome driven, isn't it? Like understanding inclusion as far as approaches are concerned. So I know that you've written about post-school success as well, and about neurodivergent entrepreneurs. What have you seen in terms of strengths that you can grow out of these difficult school experiences?
I mean, a lot are driven by their school-based failure. It is that chip on the shoulder. I mean, one of these people from the book, who's called Guy Hands. He's a multi-millionaire venture capitalist. I mean, he's done amazing things. He's like, he owns what I think most of the wind farms in the UK, and he had a terrible time at school, and he vowed that he would drive back to school, sit in a Rolls Royce, and tell the teachers how they got him wrong. And it's that chip of proving others wrong, and that drives them to do amazing things. However, a lot of, I mean, this is a case of taking your schooling and either saying this is going to drive me to do well, or it is seeing your same schooling and saying, well, they were right, that I'm useless. I've got nothing to offer. I will be on the dole. Yeah, it is the same thing, but a different mindset set. And that comes from the change of that is really obviously having an adult who will believe in you, an adult who will support you. It could be a grandparent, could be the next door neighbor, could be a parent, could be someone else. It doesn't matter. It just needs someone who will believe in you, and they are doing amazing stuff and using different tools like AI tools. It really is. It's finding what you are passionate about, and these people have worked in normal jobs and found that they were not suited to them. That they struggled in a very corporate-based world, just doing things in a certain way, or being forced to write everything. Really, they will know that they are great verbally, but can't, who will struggle writing down, and therefore doing it themselves and creating their own business allows them to create a work N environment that suits them with the support net at work, whether it is tech based or a virtual assistant. It could be a friend or pet parent who will do the boring stuff and allowing them to do well. I mean, even someone. I mean, so if you read about Richard Branson, great verbally. He can't read a spreadsheet. He won't read and write. He really early on created a support network, a support team who will allow him to do what he does well.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the, I'm surrounded often by many entrepreneurs, often find that the entrepreneurial spirit comes from exactly the things that you've mentioned. People who couldn't work for anybody else because they have to have that, either the novelty, whether it be the impulsivity, that autonomy and freedom over creating their own landscape, I think is really where then it finds those opportunities to thrive, finding my own vision and mission rather than what somebody else tells me I should have. And I think that's massive, isn't it? So if you could speak directly to a teacher who maybe is feeling exhausted and struggling with a child whose behaviour is really challenging, what would you want them to understand before they reach for that typical punishment?
I think that they need to think why. They have to use the word why and to think, what is it that's going wrong? What is causing that child to react in that way? Are they able to do the work? Are they able to access the work? Because if they can't, then this is a major reason for them doing certain things. Have a think about. I mean, the crazy thing is, every year the child will move up to another teacher, unless that previous teacher has flagged that there's learning difficulties. That child will begin the year with a fresh sheet, and therefore, it might take 1 or 2 terms for these new teachers to think, there is something there. Okay, so I would get to know the child, look at their work. Have there been difficulties before? Have they struggled before? In many cases, the child could be on a very long waiting list with a CAMS because the waiting list for ADHD or autism diagnosis is between 3 and 5 years in many places. And the crazy thing is, with the school systems, unless a child is diagnosed, that it won't be recorded, and therefore it won't flag up for the teachers. So it could be that they're waiting to be diagnosed, and therefore someone's flagged it before. So rather than thinking, naughty child, think, why?
Yeah, fantastic advice. Looking at everything you've researched and written, what gives you hope for the future for neurodivergent children in our schools?
I think that there's far more awareness now. There's awareness in parents. There's awareness within the government, and the Ofsted are now doing, and in inclusion grade. Hope is that this new grading system, which rates good if the SENCO is allowed to do their job. That in my previous roles, I was a full-time SENCO 5 days a week. However, I was given 1 day a week to teach art and 2.5 days a week of duties. Therefore, I was given, in real terms, 1.5 days to do a 5 day a week job. Okay, with this new grading, I will be given 5 days a week to do my 5 day a week job. And that, I think, is a massive step forward.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's creating that the value to the SENCO role, isn't it? Straight away, that isn't just a side job; it's a full-time provision. Yeah. So as we draw to a close on this, Neil, and I think obviously there's a number of books you've written on this subject. All these variations, particularly around the school to prison pipeline for those with ADHD, with autism, with dyslexia, which obviously, from a concept, is quite scary for many parents and carers out there, but obviously it isn't one with no hope. But for any parent, carer or teacher listening who's worried about a child, maybe they're always in trouble, maybe they're talking about giving up on school completely, what's kind of the biggest message that you would want most of them to take away from this conversation?
I think the biggest message is to support your child, help them so they don't get into trouble. Talk to the school, raise your views early, and just don't wait till they are in trouble and the school is trying to force you out. Don't allow the school to bully you to remove your child. One of the biggest things is a school cannot force you to remove your child. They are relying on you to remove them, and that will absorb them, the wrong word, of their duty towards your child.
Yeah.
Okay. You will feel that you were doing. They will tell you that this is the best thing for your child. It's not. The best thing for your child is for the school to do their job and to do their duty towards you.
Just on that, though, do you think some schools, it's not the right place for the child, and actually there could be a better place for them at times?
There could be. However, if it is a managed move out, then it's not the right thing for your child. It should be moving to a more suitable school rather than being removed out and going to the PRU or the local PRU.
Yeah.
It really isn't the right place, because that is full of kids who are struggling as well. You will find, just dealing with the EHCP children coming in, either coming in to year 7, and I will get say 30 or 40 packs coming in from the primary schools. The vast majority of those kids should not be in mainstream school. However, the local authority has a shortage of specialist schools, and they will say, it's okay, we will give you a little bit more money. It's not the case of that. It's not about the money. It is about the building. It is about the place. It's just too much of it. So they just can't cope with the sensory and the overload. Mainstream isn't suitable for most kids with plans. However, there is nowhere else for them to be, and sadly, they will say, "Oh, okay, do a emergency review within the first year." It won't move them, because I know that unless you've applied for a special school in year 5, you will not get in. Because how it works is that in year 5, with the annual review, that you have to apply then for this special school, because all these special school places are doled out in early year 6, and waiting for the next year isn't going to work. So apply in year 5. Don't wait for year 6, and it's that if you're it's really sad, because these kids. PRUs are full of kids with plans. They're full of kids with plans. it has become the second level of the special schools, and the kids there without plans mainly have un have un un diagnosed ADHD and autism. They are the kids who are waiting to be supported.
There's still a long way to go as far as improve outcomes, as you sort of said. A lot of education for schools, I think in the early part of the interview, said it's ignorance, it's a lack of knowledge, which I think is so important. So I'd add on to what you said. There's parents, there is lots of information out there, books like yours for one, but also you mentioned Dr. Martin Seligman there and his work. Wonderful book of, I think it's his, Raising an Optimistic Child. Yep. Fantastic book looking at growth mindset, looking at developing mastery to build self-esteem. I think there's so many kids out there who do have differences, who have some incredible talents, abilities, and potential, but sometimes that is masked under the expectations of what people think they should or shouldn't be doing, which may not be right for them. So, as you said, find that one passion that they're into, and encourage them in every way you possibly can to thrive in that.
Yeah, I mean, school-based career services have been quite poor to date. I think that they will suggest a safe bet is an office job or a clerical job. It's not the safe bet for a child who is struggling with reading and writing. It is about knowing their passion and allowing them to out of the box thinking. I mean, my father was a chartered accountant. My sister and brother always moved into that. I wasn't suited to that, so I went to art college for 5 years. It really is about allowing your child to be them rather than what you think they should be.
Yeah. I do, just to finish off on one final story. One of the teachers in my world that stood out the most, because I was sometimes the class clown, the child who didn't always get on with work, far more interested in entertaining others. But I had one teacher who absolutely loved me, who said that I would either become a scientist or an actor. That's what she thought I'd be, because part of that is the slightly the performance side of things, which is on one side of the spectrum, and then there's the hyper-focus, which is on a different side. And hey, now I teach psychology in a very performative way, so right. She nailed it.
Yeah, no, I mean, some with dyslexia are told that you're either going to be a millionaire or you will be in a prison.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just whether it's a
similar thing.
Absolutely. Well, it was fantastic having a conversation with you, Neil. I've loved connecting with you and some of the conversations we've had. So we'll stay in touch. I'd love to hear about any new books that you have coming up, because I know you've got a new one you're writing at the moment, right? So we'll just finish off on that.
I mean, my 19th one is about to launch, and that is the mind and motivation of neurodivergent entrepreneurs. The 20th one should be out in early 26, which is on dyslexia, art and school-based trauma. Mm-hmm. And the next one I can't really talk about because my wife would go nuts. And she says, Neil, no more. And I go, no more then.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I look forward to finding out about it. So Neil, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So for anybody out there, parents, teachers, anybody working with children, if you found anything that myself and Neil have been talking about today, then please do like, comment and share this post. There was some real kind of nuggets of information in there that Neil shared that I think might be useful for any parent out there who knows that the child is struggling or maybe perceived as naughty within the school. But otherwise, thank you very much and see you next time.